welcome into Yelling from the Couch. I'm Brent Humphreys, joined by my co-host Joey Mullins. This is to be the Week 10 NCAA football college pick'em. Joey, how you doing this week?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Been enjoying some action football this week and ready for the Saturday top 25 games.
Oh yeah, my action the past couple of nights has been pretty good to myself. Never thought I'd be sitting there watching a Maction game while the World Series was going on, but there I was last night doing that.
Yeah, sweating it out right down to the last field goal.
Sweating it out. Big Akron comeback for some of us there last night in college football. Last week we had a couple of parlays on this here podcast. Oklahoma really let everybody down as they fell to Kansas and just didn't do anything that we thought they was going to do. Nick Anderson didn't get hardly any targets at all and no touchdowns like he did the week before. Just disappointing on that one.
Yeah, he didn't even show up.
No, but old trusty Oregon, they sure did. Old T. Roy Franklin and Bucky Irvin and Bo Nix, all them guys, they did what we needed them to do, and they won our parlay last week that we picked on here.
Yep.
1 out of 2 ain't bad, 50-50 there, so still, even.
Yeah, especially for parlays. I mean, they're a little harder to hit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll do our picks here, and at the end of the episode, we're going to hit on a little bit of NCAA basketball preview. Ready for that? It's not going to be a full blown episode with, we want to get into the season before we start seeing what all these players are, because transfer portal and different faces and different places, and don't really know what we're talking about yet until it gets going, really.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go ahead and get started here. Saturday, the first game is the brand new number 1 team in the land after Tuesday night. It's a reveal of the college football playoff. The Ohio State Buckeyes travel to New Jersey to face the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Ohio State is an 18.5-point favorite. The over-under is 42.5. Joey, what do you think about Ohio State being number 1, and what do you think about their chances in this one?
Well, I on paper, I get why they're number 1. Strength of schedule, who they've played, who they beat. But as a football fan and personal opinion, I kind of find it hard to believe to put them ahead of a team that hasn't lost a game since, in going on 2 years, a year and a half now. But I'm not the selection committee. And but this game here against Rutgers, I mean, it's one of them David versus Goliaths. I mean, I think Ohio State's going to handle their business pretty easy. Marvin Harris Jr., I mean, he's an absolute man. They'll handle their business. Rutgers not a bad team. They're 6-2. But I don't think they have any kind of chance against Ohio State.
You like Ohio State to cover that spread, 18.5?
Absolutely. Probably more.
I'm with you there. I think that they'll cover that spread. I don't think that, like I said, we talked about last week, Ohio State has a elite receiver. They've got an elite defense. Their quarterback, I'm still not convinced on. He's a good game manager. I know he's thrown for 2,000 yards, but they just doesn't seem like he's got it. They won last week over Wisconsin 24-10 in an ugly game, which all Big 12 football has been ugly, in those games. Ohio State, number 1 ranking. I'm with you there. Georgia has not lost a game. Georgia's defending national champions. You give them the number 1 ranking until they prove that they're not the number 1 team. And so far, they have not proven that they aren't. But that's neither here nor there. It is what it is. Ohio State's number 1. I think that they win. I think that they cover. The over-under is 42.5. I think the under is going to hit on that one. I could see a game like last week, 28-7 or something like that. But yeah, I
28
think
nothing.
28-0 even. 31-3. But the
Yeah.
under will hit, and Ohio State will cover in that matchup.
Yep.
The next matchup will be a top 25 matchup in the Big 12. The number 23 Kansas State Wildcats travel to Austin to face the Texas Longhorns. Texas is number 7 in the nation. Texas is a 4-point favorite. The over-under is 49.5. Joey, who you like in this one?
I think the over will hit in this one. Um, as far as the matchup goes, I give the slight edge to Texas. Um, I don't think it's going to be blowout city. I think it's going to be one of those kind of up tempo, high scoring games. Um, but overall, I think Texas will come out on top. And the spread, I'm going on a limb here and probably have to take the Kansas State spread in this one because I don't think this is going to be one of those blowout games. Both teams are good. They got good offenses. They can both score points. May come down to whoever's defense can get, that one last stop. Um, so I'll go with Kansas State spread. Texas to win the game, the over to hit.
I'm going to go with you here on the over, but I think Texas will win this game, and I think Texas will run away with it. I think Texas is that good. They have one blemish on their record, and it's Oklahoma. And that was an up and down game there. Last week, Texas was without their starting quarterback, Quinn Ewers, but the backup quarterback, Murphy, come in, threw for 170 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did throw a pick, but they blew out BYU 35-6. If you look at Texas's record, most of their games have been, lopsided, aside from like Alabama, and of course the loss to Oklahoma. But for the most part, I mean, they have been just beating teams down. Kansas State, on the other hand, they're number 23. They've got a good record and everything, 6-2. They beat down Houston last week. They beat down TCU. But the game that I was worried about, Oklahoma State, they were like 11-point favorite and ended up losing that game. But I just think Texas is the better team here, and I think they'll cover, and I think that they'll win. I'll take the over too. I think it could be like a 35-21 game. I don't think it'll be a beatdown, but I don't think it'll be close either. That's what I think there in that one.
Yeah.
The next 12 o'clock game, the Texas A&M. I'm blanking out. Whatever their name is. What is Texas A&M?
Aggies.
The Aggies. Yeah, man. Phew, brain fart big time there. SEC, I should know that. They have the Ole Miss to face the Ole Miss Rebels. I know that one, number 10 in the nation. Ole Miss is a 3-point favorite. The over-under is 53.5. Joey, what do you think about this matchup?
Well, this is a little intriguing. I'm going to say I'm going to pick Ole Miss to win the game. And if I had to pick over under, I don't know. I would be on the fence about it. I want to say over, but it's for me the over under is a little close to call on this one, just by judging by their previous games and scores. They kind of up and down. But I think Ole Miss will take care of business. And I think, let me check. You said the spread was 3.
3.
Yeah, I think Ole Miss will cover the spread in this one. But I just the over under part that I'm on the fence about that one. I was gonna see what you thought about the over and under in that game.
Well, Ole Miss can put up points in a hurry. I don't know if Texas A&M can.
Mm-hmm.
But I like Ole Miss to cover this spread. But I'm also taking the under too. I could see Ole Miss, 28-17 or 28-21, and still hitting that under. And
Yeah.
over under is kind of high for an SEC matchup, even an Ole Miss team that puts up points. But Texas A&M really don't put up a whole lot. in comparison. So I'll take Ole Miss in that one, and I'll take them to cover. I'll take the under on that one as well. I'm with you.
Yep.
Next matchup is the number 15 Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I know that. I know that nickname. Traveling to Clemson, South Carolina, to face the Clemson Tigers, the unranked 4-4 Clemson Tigers. With Dabo Sweeney fighting with his fans this past week on his show. Not a good look out there. And Notre Dame's a 3-point favorite. The over-under is 44.5. Joey, what do you like in this one?
Well, Dabo says, and I quote, critics will not steal my joy, but I hate to tell him, but his joy is going to be taken by Notre Dame Saturday, because I got Notre Dame winning this game hands down. As far as spread goes, it's a 3-point spread. Notre Dame should definitely cover that. Pretty easy. I mean, Sam Hartman's he's a good quarterback. He's thrown 5 picks this year, but I mean, Notre Dame can put up some points. They've had a couple of games where they haven't put up. They only put up 21 against Duke and only 17 against Ohio State. But yeah, I think they'll cover and they'll win. And I'm probably gonna take the over in this game just because Notre Dame can really pile on the points. I mean, they put up 58 against Pitt, which I know Pitt's not the same level opponent as Clemson, but they can still put up points. They put up 48 against USC, so I'm gonna take the over in this one.
I like Notre Dame in this matchup too. I think that they'll cover the spread. But I can also see a scenario where everybody's beating down on Clemson. Dabo had his thing the other day where a caller called in and was questioning about how he made all this money, and he was like bashing him. And once you start fighting with your fans, you're going down the wrong path there. And I believe before the season he said it was a national championship or it was a failure of a season, and now that they're 4-4 and fans are wondering what happened with that, and then he's getting mad at the fans for thinking that they're expecting too much, and it's like, well, what are you wanting them to do here, man? I mean, you said national championship or bust, and then you're 4-4 halfway through the season. I like Notre Dame in this. I like the over under. I like the over. The over under. I like the over of 44.5 because Notre Dame can put on the points. I think Clemson will put up some points too here. But I think Notre Dame will end up winning it, maybe by about 7 or so. But Clemson will keep it tight. Like I said, their backs against the wall. Everybody's against them, and they're a better team than what their record is, I believe. But Notre Dame is still a top 15 team here, and I think that they'll win. I think they'll cover, and the over is going to hit in that one.
Yeah, I agree. And when you're a coach, man, you got to be careful what you say, especially on national TV or national radio or anything like that, because you're under spotlights. All eyes are on you. You tweet one thing or anything like that, people's going to be all over it. So, but yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, and when he said that whenever players start getting paid, that's when he was going to get out coaching, and he's still coaching out there. Players are starting to get paid now. And he's just hypocritical all the way around. But they have they haven't won anything in a few years, so
they've been down for sure. Clemson used to be one of those top programs, top 5, 6 in the country every year, and
they had some epic battles against Alabama there for years, and lately it just hasn't been there.
Nope.
The last Saturday of top 25 action will be a doozy of a game. Should be a great matchup right here. The 1-7 Yukon Huskies travel down to Rocky Top to face the number 17 Tennessee Volunteers. Tennessee is only a 35.5-point favorite. The over-under is 55.5. I will not give my opinions on what I think about Tennessee this week as I did last week, but they're still the same. Joey, what do you think about this matchup?
Oh man, I was waiting. I was hoping every week. I keep wanting to hear if your opinion changes of them. I was wanting to hear you say it again, but no. I mean, the spread's humongous, and it's humongous for a reason. UConn's just awful. I mean, they're just terrible. And I hate to say that, but I put them in the category with Georgia Tech, Virginia, all those teams that my team lost to. I put UConn in about the same category. Um, Obviously Tennessee's going to win the game, and I'm going to have to take the over on this just because I think Tennessee's going to run this. They're going to run away with this, and this game will be over probably in midway through the second quarter. Um, but yeah, and the spread, I want to say Tennessee to cover, but depending on how far ahead they get, if they want to, if they take some players out and not playing their best players, if they get too far ahead, that'd be the only reason why they wouldn't cover the spread. But if everybody plays the whole game, I've got them covering the spread easy.
It's kind of crazy to think that 35.5 point spread, you've got it covered, but I'm with you on this, man. Tennessee has just got too much firepower there for UConn. I could see this game being like 56-0, you know, and it's hitting the over and
Easily.
it's spread, you know. But Tennessee last week they did beat my Kentucky Wildcats 33-27. Um, Joe Milton, he looked decent last week. He was 18 of 21, and you know Wright had 120 yards rushing. That was against Kentucky. This is against UConn. UConn, I couldn't tell you what they've done all season. I don't think it matters. UConn, if this was basketball, they would probably be favored better. They have a better shot of it. But it's not. It's football. And Tennessee wins. Tennessee covers. Not really much else to say about it, but they'll win. They'll cover that easily.
Yeah, it's one of them games where when it comes on, it's time to get up and go get a refill on the snacks and stuff.
Uh, the next game in the top 25 this week is Arizona State Sun Devils at 2-6 travel to Salt Lake City to face the Utah Utes, number 18 in the nation, 6-2. Utah's 11-point favorite. The over under is 41.5. Joey, what do you think about this one?
Basically, same as the last game. Landslide victory. Um, Barnes and company are going to come out. They're going to take care of business. They're going to get it done. Um, like you said, this game it's going to be David versus Goliath. I got Utah winning. Um, I got the over hitting in this one too, and Utah covering the spread.
I've got Utah winning this one as well. Utah coming off of a beatdown last week at home to Oregon. Arizona State's not Oregon. They won't put up as many points as Oregon did for sure. Utah will put up a better effort in this matchup here. Uh, I think Utah will win. I think they cover, but I don't think the over under hits in this one. I think this is a defensive battle. Neither one of these offenses are all that great. I'll take Utah. I'll take them to cover. I'll take the under in that one.
Oh, okay.
The next matchup is Commander in Chief Trophy, Battle Cup, whatever they call it. It's the Army Black Knights traveling to Denver to face the Air Force Eagles, number 25 in the nation. Air Force 8-0. Air Force is an 18.5 point favorite. The over under is 31.5. Joey, what do you think in this one?
Mm. Well, all right. I got Air Force winning. Um, they're just a way better team. And then you look at Army. They can't really score a whole lot. I mean, LSU beat them 62-0. Um, Troy beat them 19-0. So I mean, you're looking at back-to-back games where you laid a goose egg and couldn't even score a field goal. Um, so yeah, I've got Air Force winning, and I'm probably going to say over on this game, too. I'm going to be like you was the last week, taking the over just about in every game. And then Air Force covering the spread. They should cover 18.5 point spread pretty easily. Um, yeah, I think Air Force gets it done, covers everything.
Yeah, I think Air Force gets it done too. They beat Navy a couple weeks ago. This time they beat Army, and they win the Commander in Chief trophy for this year. I also think that Air Force will cover this spread, but I'm taking the under in this one. I think that this game feels like a 24-3 or even a 24-0 matchup. Army just doesn't have the firepower, no pun intended here, on the football field uh, to get it done this year. Just not a very good team. Air Force is decent. They're a ground team, but I see them getting it done. Like I said, 24-3, 24-0 even. But the under is going to hit in this one, so take the under on this one. The next matchup is a top 25 matchup between two ranked teams. The number 12 Missouri Tigers at 7-1 travel to number 2 Georgia Bulldogs in Athens. Georgia's a 15-point favorite. The over/under is 54.5. Joey, who do you like in this matchup?
I definitely like the over for sure. And this one to me is going to be like me and you had talked about off the podcast. I think it was yesterday, maybe. Um, I think this one's going to be kind of close in the first couple quarters. I think Missouri's going to kind of keep it. They're going to stay within striking distance. But overall, Georgia's just going to wear them down. And I got Georgia winning. Like I said, I got the over. And then as far as spread goes, I think they'll cover. I think they'll cover the spread. I mean, you can't count them out, dude. They're they're elite right now. So I got them covering everything.
Yeah, Georgia falling to number 2 in this college football playoff. Defending national champions, we talked about it. Haven't lost a game. Haven't done anything not to earn that number 1. And for them to be knocked down to number 2, maybe they come out with a little extra oomph in their game and give them a little extra motivation to get back up to that number 1 spot. Georgia 15-point spread. I like that too. Missouri is a good team. I'm not going to take anything away from them. They only have one loss. They beat my Wildcats a few weeks ago. They they don't have as much firepower as Georgia does. The over is getting hit in this game because there's going to be some offense, shown. But I could see Georgia winning this game. I could see it being 38-21 or something like that. But to give me Georgia in this one to win and to be impressive for that committee for next week, to give them a real conversation of who is the real number 1 here. But we'll
Yeah,
roll with Georgia.
yeah. And I look for Brock Bowers to have. I'm just going on a limb, a hunch. I look for Brock Bowers to have one of the best games he's had all year.
Brock Bowers is out this week.
Oh, that is right. I did forget about that. Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that
But
is. If he was playing, he would have one of the best games of his career.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, we're having brain farts all over the place today.
Hey, it happens. The number 4 Florida State Seminoles travel to Pittsburgh to face the Pittsburgh Panthers. Florida State is a 21.5 point favorite. The over/under is 49.5. Joey, what do you like in this one?
Well, I definitely like Florida State, and I think they're well deserving of their number 4 ranking. And almost could say put them in the conversation for the number 3 spot ahead of Michigan. You know, depending on Michigan's impressive. Don't get me wrong, but you know their resume is not as impressive. I mean, you take the teams that they've played, yeah, they're beating them down, but I guess the test of time will tell because it's coming up that Michigan's going to have to play some good teams in the latter part of their schedule. So, yeah, I like Florida State in this one. As far as over under goes, I'm hate to say it, but I sound like a broken record. I'm probably going to take the over just because it's going to be so lopsided. Florida State's going to run away with it, and I got them covering as well.
Yeah, I'm with you here too. Florida State's been impressive this season, just beating teams down. I think the trend continues this week as well. I think Florida State wins it. I'm taking the over on that too. They're covering the spread. Pittsburgh is just awful. I know they did beat Louisville though in football, which is I like that. But Florida State, yeah, they're going to win. They're going to cover, and they're going to keep that top four ranking in the college football playoff. The next
Yeah, and
matchup, yeah,
I was going to say,
good.
and
Good.
to reiterate on my point, I mean, Michigan, I mean, you look at their schedule, and they've really not played. I mean, the toughest part of their schedule is coming up. Like you said, they got. I just looking back at their schedule, they haven't really played anybody that could really give them any kind of what you would call run for their money. Um, and that's why, like I said, I'm not the selection committee, but I think Florida State deserved the number 3. Just my opinion.
Yeah, they'll have a few games coming up here in a couple of weeks. They play Penn State and Ohio State. We'll see what Michigan's really made of there.
Yep.
The next matchup is another top 25 matchup between two teams here. Oklahoma travels to Stillwater to face Oklahoma State for Bedlam. Oklahoma is a 6-point favorite after coming off of their first loss of the season last year to Kansas. 60.5 point over under. Joey, what do you think about this matchup?
Uh, definitely the over. I mean, like I said, they've had some epic battles in the past. This is actually their last final bedlam as Big 12 foes. So yeah, I've got Oklahoma in this one, winning. I got them covering the spread, and then like I said, I got the over. Oklahoma, they can put up points. So can Oklahoma State. Um, they both can score. So, but overall, should be a pretty good football game to actually watch this one. I don't see no snooze fest or anything. Should be a good game.
Yeah, I think the over is definitely hitting in this game. If it wouldn't have been for Oklahoma's loss last week at Kansas, I would probably be tempted to take Oklahoma State in this one. But where Oklahoma come off of that loss and they've still got an outside shot of making the playoff, I think that they'll come out ready to play this week. Dylan Gabriel get it going the way he should have got it going. Maybe he'll get Nick Anderson involved. That there's no bets with Nick Anderson going on this week. Uh, I think Oklahoma will win this game. I'm. It's a 6-point spread. I'll take Oklahoma to cover the spread. Maybe win by a touchdown, but this could be like an absolute shootout. I mean, this could be like a 56-49 game. I could see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
But give me Oklahoma in that one in Bedlam. The last Bedlam is a Big 12 foes, as you mentioned. The next matchup, number 11, Penn State travels to Maryland to face the Maryland Terrapins. Penn State is an 8.5 point favorite with the over under 50.5. Joey, what do you think about this one?
Maryland's one of them Jekyll and Hyde teams. It started off the year they were on fire the first 2 games, and then they've kind of slid off a little bit. The potential for Maryland to make this a good game is there. I got Penn State winning. As far as over under, probably going to have to take the over in this one too, just because Penn State can score points. I mean, beat UMass 63-0, put up 41, put up 31 against Iowa. I mean, they can flat out score the ball. So yeah, I've got Penn State winning, and I got them covering the spread. Like I said, I think the potential for Maryland is there. They just haven't took that next step yet, in my opinion. But Maryland does look better, than they have in the past. So the potential's there, just not quite.
I like Penn State in this matchup too. Maryland has been awful the past few weeks. They were 5-0 and they've been 0-3 since. Penn State's kind of struggled offensively the last few weeks. I like the under in this matchup. I think it's going to be an ugly game. I don't think that it's going to be a very pretty one to watch. Penn State will cover the spread. Penn State will get the win, but I just don't think that it's going to be very you know very very good offensively. What am I trying to say? It's not going to be very pleasing to watch this game here. It's just going to be an ugly matchup. Boy, that was an ugly sentence to get out there to talk about how ugly of a game that's going to be. Man, that matches.
Yeah, it's going to be a offensive nightmare to watch.
The next matchup comes from the ACC. The Virginia Tech Hokies travel to Louisville, Kentucky to face the number 13 Louisville Cardinals. Louisville is a 9.5-point favorite. The over-under is 48.5. Joey, what do you think about this one?
I'm actually going to take the under in this one. I think the under is going to hit in this one. Louisville's going to win the game. Virginia Tech's another one of them teams that can make it competitive. Just depends on if they show up, if their defense shows up. But yeah, I've got the under and I've got Louisville winning. And I've also got Louisville covering the spread. I think they'll get it done.
Yeah, I'm with you here too. I think Louisville will cover the spread here. I think that the under is going to hit. Louisville last week blanked Duke 23-0. Louisville has looked pretty good all season long. I just hope they keep on trucking and they get to be 10-1 coming in to play Kentucky at the end of the year with their chest pumped out, and we send them back to Louisville crying. That would be great. So the more they win, the more that chest gets pumped out before then, and we do to them all the time. But Louisville wins, Louisville covers. The under hits in this one. Yeah, I'm with you. The next matchup comes out of the American Conference. The Tulane Green Wave, number 24 in the nation, travel to East Carolina to face the East Carolina Pirates. Tulane is a 17-point favorite. The over-under is 47.5. What's up with that, Joey?
Well, this is an intriguing matchup on paper. They're actually giving ECU a 24.7% chance to win, and they've only won one game all year. That's kind of interesting. I think that's very generous of a percentage for them to win. I got Tulane winning this pretty easily. And I've actually got the over in this one, too. I know Tulane can score points. The last 5 games, they've been averaging about 32, 33 points a game. And East Carolina just doesn't have, 10-7, 44-0. They just don't have the offensive firepower to compete with really anybody in the top 25. So, yeah, I got Tulane winning this. I got, like I said, I got the under hitting, and I've got Tulane covering the spread.
Yeah, I'm going with you here. This game looks like 35-3 written all over it. Tulane will cover the spread. The under's going to hit here. There's not much else to say. Like you said, they're giving East Carolina a little bit too much credit, I think, for a team with one win. Yeah. Tulane only one loss. Tickets are as low as $11 if you want to get in on that, Joey, and head to Greenville this week to catch that matchup.
Oh, it's on my bucket list. It's on my bucket list.
The next matchup, tickets are as low as $17 here. If anybody wants to travel out to Eugene, Oregon, to watch the California Golden Bears face the number 6 Oregon Ducks. Oregon is a 24.5-point favorite with the over/under at 59.5. Joey, what do you like about this one?
I like the over. And I'm going to go on a limb and say if you bet the over on every one of Oregon's games, you're probably going to win. Um, they're just offensive explosion after explosion in a game. And dating back to the last matchup, what the analytics predicts, they're only giving Cal a 7% chance to win this game.
Too high.
Yeah, only a 7% chance. Yeah, it's
Still
blowout
too high.
city. Yeah, it's blowout city. I got Oregon covering the spread. Got the over hitting. Bo Nix, Bucky Irvin, OT Roy Franklin. I mean, it's just too much for Cal to handle.
This year would be the perfect timing for them to bring in the 12-team playoff right here with as many teams as there is. Oregon's sitting
Yes.
at number 6 right now on the outside looking in. I would love to see them get another shot. They had that loss to Washington earlier in the season. But I'd like to see them, match up with a Georgia or an Ohio State with that offensive firepower that they've got. They're just on fire.
Yes.
Offense every week shows up. They haven't had an off week really all season offensively. I think that continues again this week at home. California, thanks for showing up. But that's all you'll be doing. Oregon wins this game. Oregon covers. The spread's covered. Of course, the over is hitting in this one. Bo Nix and the boys will come out firing, and it's not going to be pretty for California. But if you like offense, you will see it out of Oregon for sure. Oregon wins it.
Yeah, and two more things about this game. If I have to say that, I might would put a bet in for the over to hit in the first half of this game. I mean Oregon's just that good, and I don't know. But they gotta. I'm so glad they're changing the playoff. There's so many good matchups. If
Mm-hmm.
you look down from ranking number 1 to 12, there's so many good matchups that would be so great to see in a tournament format that I just can't wait till next year where it's like that.
Yeah, like I said, it's a shame that they just got the 4 this year with so many teams out there this year.
Mm-hmm.
The top 12 would be an awesome, awesome format. The next matchup, the number 1 Kansas Jayhawks, number 1. Whoa, that's basketball. That's preview after a while. The number 21 Kansas Jayhawks travel to Ames, Iowa to face the Iowa State Cyclones. Iowa State's 5-3. Iowa State is a 2.5 point favorite at home. The over/under is 53.5. Joey, who you like in this one?
I got Iowa State winning this. Believe it or not, I do. I got Iowa State winning it, and Kansas. I mean, they last week they had so many bonehead plays um, against Oklahoma, and they still squeaked out the win, but probably shouldn't have won the game. Um, they had, just so many mental mistakes at the end. If I ain't mistaken, I've watched so many games last week. That's the quarterback that slid, wasn't it? At the goal line.
Mm-hmm.
Was
Yeah,
that the same game? Yeah, yeah. Bean, he slid at the goal line. Yeah, I remember
yeah.
seeing that happen in like 2 games last week. I don't know if it was NFL or what, but I remember it's why I was making sure this was the one I was talking about. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's just so many boneheaded plays. I mean, all he had to do was just take one more step and it's touchdown. You know, you got to know that. You got to know where your feet are. You got to know what you're doing. Um, but yeah, I've got Iowa State winning this, and I've got Iowa State covering the spread. And over under, I'm probably gonna have to say the over.
Yeah, I'm with you on the over there for sure. This is what you would call a letdown week for Kansas after a big upset win over Oklahoma last week. Kansas
Mm-hmm.
is going to come in and they're gonna lay an egg here. Not really. I mean, they'll put up points. It'll be close, but Iowa State will win. Iowa State will cover this one here. Like I said, this got let down written all over it. Iowa State at home, Kansas on the road. After that win, Iowa State will win it. Iowa State will cover that. And the over's hitting.
Yep.
Next matchup, the Purdue Boilermakers travel to Ann Arbor to face the number 3 Michigan Wolverines. Michigan's 8-0 on the season. They're also a 32.5 point favorite. The over-under is 50.5. Joey, what do you think about this one?
Well, Purdue's got a 2.4% chance to win the game. So, um, if you like to gamble, um, but no, I've got Michigan winning this by a landslide. Like, I mean, Purdue's just they're awful. They beat Illinois 44-19. Um, but still, I got Michigan winning this. I've got the overhitting. The overhitting in Michigan games are about like the overhitting in Oregon games. Um, and as long as everybody stays in the game, they don't get too far ahead. I've definitely got the spread of 32.5. Or yeah, I got them covering the spread too.
Yeah, this one's going to get ugly. This is the makings of like a 49-3 game or something like that. The over's hitting, the spread's getting covered. Michigan, after a week off last week and dropping down from 2 to 3 in the rankings, and seeing the rival Ohio State take over that number one ranking, it's got to get in there, crawl just a little bit here. I think they'll come out and they'll be hitting on all cylinders here, and it'll just be a beatdown of Purdue. Not going to be close. Michigan covers. Michigan hits the over. Michigan keeps rolling into the matchup next week against Penn State.
Yep.
Another top 25 matchup between two top 25 teams. Number 5, Washington Huskies travel to number 20, USC Trojans. Washington's a 3-point favorite in LA. The over-under in this one, Joey, 76.5. Joey, what do you think about this one?
Wow. I mean, oh my goodness. Man, that's one of them overs that you think you're like, can that really happen? Like, can that really happen in a football game? But I've seen it, but you don't see an over hit that high very often. Um, I've definitely got Washington winning the game. Um, Caleb Williams, to me, he's let down a little bit past few games. Um, they lost 2 in a row, lost to Notre Dame, lost to Utah. Yeah, I've got Washington winning this. I've got Washington covering the spread and the over under. I'm gonna have to say under because it could be one of those games where it comes down, to defense. Both teams can drive the ball. If Caleb Williams is playing good, both teams can drive the ball. There might be some defensive stops, but I'm gonna go with the under.
I am going to say that if it comes down to defense, it's not going to happen. There is no defense played by either one of these teams at all. Both defenses absolutely suck. Give me the over in this matchup. USC has struggled lately, but Washington hasn't played its greatest either. They just beat Stanford last week 42-33. The week before was 15-9 game against whoever it was they played, Arizona State or somebody like that.
Yeah, they played Arizona State.
That was just I don't know what that was. That was a late night. Nobody's watching. Penix played his worst game he's ever played. But this one here, it's going to be a matchup of the two quarterbacks here, Penix and Williams. Like you said, if it comes down to defense here, I don't like that at all.
Oh, I
Give me
agree
the
with you.
over. Give me the over in this one. I think it's going to be in the 40s. Both teams are going to score in the 40s here. And whoever has the ball last will win this game. And I think that'll be Washington. Washington will win. Washington will cover because they win by a touchdown in LA. The next matchup out of the SEC, another matchup between two top 25 teams. Number 14, LSU Tigers travel to Tuscaloosa to face the number 8 Alabama Crimson Tide. Alabama's a 3-point favorite with the over-under at 61.5. That's kind of high for an SEC matchup. But Joey, what do you think about it?
Well, I don't know. LSU, like I said, they're a good team. They definitely can score the ball. Alabama, on the other hand, they've struggled in some weeks. barely getting over 20 points. The last 5 games, I mean, you're looking at LSU. They've been, over 40 points 4 out of their last 5 games. That's a high. That's really high on the over. I've got, man, this is one of them toss-up games. It's one of them that I don't know how to explain. It's one of them games where you know how you have a game and you got to make a pick, but you're really not comfortable 100% whichever way you pick.
Every game I pick. No.
Yeah. But if I had to pick, I call me crazy, but I'm going to take LSU in this one. I'm going to take LSU. I'm going to go on a limb here. They're rolling offensively. I'm going to go with them. Daniels, he's thrown for 2,500 yards this year, only 3 picks. So I'm gonna go with LSU. I'm gonna take the under in this game, and yeah, I'm gonna take. That's what I'm gonna go with.
I can see the LSU coming in and beating Alabama. LSU did beat Alabama last year, knocked Alabama out of the SEC championship game, put LSU in there. Alabama's not been very impressive this year. They did seem like they kind of got it right last week against Tennessee, or the week before against Tennessee, beating them, but they barely got past Arkansas. They had a close win over Texas A&M. They barely got by South Florida earlier in the year, fell to Texas. But for my personal feelings here, Alabama has got to win this game. That way they can get upset next Saturday in Lexington. But they have to come off. They have to come up with a win here. So I'm going to go with Alabama in the win here. I think it's going to be a push. I think they win by 3. And the under's hitting 61.5 is a lot. This game, could be like a 24-21 or, something like that, something in that ballpark, 27-24. But I think Alabama will win it with a push, like I said. The next matchup, we go out west, young man. The Oregon State Beavers at 6-2, number 16. Travel to Boulder, face Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes. Oregon State's a 13.5-point favorite. The over-under is 62.5. Joey, what do you like in this matchup?
I like Oregon State to win. I like Coach Prime, Shadur Sanders. They're great, but I think their magical time is over. They finally fell back down to earth from the beginning of the season. They got a lot to figure out. Coach Prime does especially with his defense. His offensive line is absolutely terrible. Sanders is a real good quarterback. He just don't get enough time in the pocket. The offensive line they basically don't have any. So I'm taking Oregon State in this one, and I think the over is going to hit in this one, just because Colorado can score points, so can Oregon State, and Colorado's going to score no matter if they are down by a lot. They're not going to stop playing. That's not in Coach Prime's DNA. So there's going to be a lot of points scored in this one, but I got Oregon State winning, and I've got. As far as spread goes, I think Oregon State will cover the spread too.
I've got Oregon State winning this matchup as well. I've got Colorado actually covering this spread.
I was on the fence about it. I was back and forth. I
could see it being a 7-point game. Oregon State will win it. The over is definitely getting hit in this one because, do they really play much defense out in the Pac-12? No. So far, we haven't had any evidence other than Oregon. And, Utah plays a little bit, except for last week when they played Oregon. But then again, who can stop that juggernaut of an offense in Oregon? But these two teams really don't play a whole lot of defense. Like you said, Colorado will put up points, but they're not going to be able to stop me and you out there, pitching and catching a ball. So Oregon State wins, Colorado covers, and the over definitely hits. The last top 25 matchup will be the UCLA Bruins, number 19, traveling to Tucson, Arizona to face the Arizona Wildcats. UCLA, a 3-point favorite. The over-under is 51.5. Joey, do you smell upset in this one?
I do. I honestly do. I'm gonna go with Arizona in this game. Um, Arizona has had some close calls for games in the past. I mean, they beat Oregon State by 3. They beat Stanford by 1. Um, I just I think this is the one I had circled before we started the podcast for possible upset alert, and I'm gonna take Arizona in this one. Um, what'd you say the over and under was? I think it was
51.5.
51 and a half. My goodness. I'm gonna say the under in this one, and yeah, I'm gonna say the under, and I got I got Arizona winning. Yeah, I got them. I got them pulling it off the upset at home.
I'm with you here. This is one of those late night Pac-12 matchups where things get a little crazy after dark. If this was basketball, Bill Walton would be talking about walking through, fields of clover and rolling up some certain sorts of medicinal purposes and all this and that. Just
Never.
crazy stuff happens Pac-12 after dark. But yeah, I got you here. I got Arizona winning this one. The under's hitting. It could be like a 24-21 matchup here. But Arizona will pull off the home upset and beat the UCLA Bruins, number 19.
Yeah, lock it in if you're a betting person. I would about
Lock
say
it in.
you can lock that one in. I'm pretty confident with that one.
So we'll go out of the top 25 just for personal reasons for this podcast here. The Camels, maybe? I'm not sure what they are. They travel to Chapel Hill to face the North Carolina Tar Heels, who are 6-2 on the season. They were, ranked up until this past week. There is actually no spread or no over under in this matchup, Joey. So we'll just pick it straight up.
Wow.
Who you like in this one?
Well, yeah, I like Carolina, but at this point in the season with them, you never know. I mean, Drake May, he's projected he's going to play for an NFL team. I'm not going to say he's going to play on Sunday right off the bat, but he will be a backup somewhere, and he will eventually get his shot in the NFL. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I've got Carolina winning the game. I think that might make me just partially disown their football side of their school if they lose this game. That, yeah, that would be really embarrassing. But yeah, I got Carolina winning.
Yeah, this would definitely be a worse loss than the Virginia loss a few weeks ago when you were undefeated, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to happen. Carolina, I think this is where they get back in. Drake May will probably sit out in the second quarter here for sure,
Yeah.
and or not second quarter, second half. Carolina will win. Carolina will beat them down. There's no point spread for a reason, I believe. So I'll go with Carolina in that one for sure to win. The next matchup that we will talk about, Kentucky Wildcats travel to Starkville, Mississippi to face the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Kentucky is a 5-point favorite. The over-under is 45.5. Joey, what do you think about this matchup?
I definitely like Kentucky in this one. They're not gonna, like you said, they've turned one loss into two, and then it kind of keeps going from there. But I think they right the ship this time and take out some frustrations in this game. So yeah, I've got Kentucky winning this one.
I've got Kentucky win this one too. I've got them covering the spread. It's going to be tough. Anytime you go with those stupid cowbells, it's going to be tough matchup. But Mississippi State just doesn't have the firepower that they have in the last few years. With Mike Leach passing away in the offseason, them having to get a new coach, and them having to change over their philosophy and everything else from his offense to this offense here. Mississippi State's just been down all season. 4-4. I mean, I guess it's a respectable record, but Kentucky last week, I felt like started to kind of get things right. Devin Leary, we'd been leery about him, but he was on target quite a bit. Threw for, his receivers were catching passes finally. Just some of the play calling in that game was just baffling. And then again, we watch some of these games, man, and my head wants to explode with some of these play calls that they make where these coordinators want to outsmart themselves. Like a couple of games last night, 3rd and 1, your quarterback 6'5". All he's got to do is lean forward pretty much, and he's got the first down. And they snap the ball and hand it off to a guy 5 yards deep and get stuffed at the line of scrimmage. And it's like, what are we doing here? That's how I felt with Kentucky last week with some of the play calls. Like, what are we doing here? I mean, we had a shot to beat this team. Everything was clicking on offense for the most part, and just some bad play calling was the downfall. But I like Kentucky to win. I like the Kentucky to cover that one. And the over-under 45.5, I probably take the under on that one.
Yeah, I agree. It kind of reminds me of these play calls of like if you have, say you got your car sitting here and you locked your keys in it, but the windows are down, and then you're on the other side trying to use something to open the door with when you can just reach through the door and open the door. It's kind of what it reminds me of. Some of these play calls. It's like, just take what's there. Why are you trying to make something out of nothing?
Yeah, you're outsmarting yourself for no reason.
Yep.
Well, that is our pick'ems for this week. We will touch on a little basketball preview here, man.
Yeah.
The best thing I saw from the past week, basketball-wise, the Louisville basketball Cardinals hosted the Kentucky Wesleyan whatever they are in an exhibition game. And the Louisville Cardinals, who went 4-28 last year, dropped the game to the Kentucky Wesleyan whoever they are, 71-68. That Kentucky Wesleyan is picked 8th in their conference. 8th in their conference, and Louisville loses to them on their home floor. They are not getting this turned around, apparently. It looks like Louisville's losing ways are going to continue into this season again. Kenny Payne won all them games at Kentucky is what the Louisville fans were saying. If that's so, what's going on in Louisville, man?
Man, it's Louisville is just they've got so much to figure out. They have got to change. They got to change a lot of stuff. They got to get back to winning ways. And when I say winning ways, I don't just mean X's and O's drawing up plays. I'm talking about winning ways, coaching on the court, off the court, continuity with your players, your staff. I mean, it seems like everything's just all jumbled up, and they got to figure out a way to try to put it all back together.
Yeah, and I don't know if they can or not. I just, if they start off like they did last season, I think you've got to make a head coaching change.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to get rid of Kenny Payne. I just don't think he's a head coach material, and it's obviously showing right now. I mean, it's certainly not at a huge school like that. Maybe even at a small school, because if he's losing all these small schools at Louisville, what's he going to do at the other schools? Not much.
Yeah.
So the Carolina Tar Heels, they had a win last week, a pretty big fashion. They start out the season at number 19 in the AP Top 25, 21 in the coaches poll. Is that too low for Carolina, Joey, or is that just right? Or
to me,
what do you think?
To me, it's a sweet spot. If you go back and look at all the history of Carolina, when we're preseason number 1 or preseason number 2, it's disaster. I don't know why it gets in their heads, whatever. That's like when we play in the ACC tournament. If we lose in the first round of our conference tournament, that usually means, if you go back and look, that usually means we're going to make a deep run in March. It's just the trends that Carolina basketball has. That they're 19th, honestly, it would not have hurt my feelings if they had not have been in the top 25. Because I'm all about the type person that it's like, prove it to me. You're not in the top 25. Let's show them that we need to be in the top 25. Put the work in first. So I think it's a perfect ranking for them.
Yeah, and Kentucky Wildcats are number 16 in both polls. You know, preseason rankings really don't matter,
No.
but they have to put them out, I guess, for people to talk about.
Yep.
It's fine. I think, after a few weeks, you'll figure out where everybody's at. It'll take a while to get up to that 16. It's whatever. I'm glad they didn't put them in the top 5 like they have the past few years. They've been down the past few years, so we'll see if this team will be different than the last few years' teams, which I think they will. They've got the number 1 class coming in, better talent, got some people returning. We'll just see how it is, but I like Kentucky's where they're sitting right now. It's fine, 16, it's whatever. The
At least.
defending national. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. Go ahead.
I was just saying the defending national champions, UConn Huskies, they start out the season number 6 in one poll and number 5 in the other. Not really sure where they're going to be at there. Kansas is number 1 in both polls. Duke is number 2 in the AP. And then Purdue, Michigan State, Marquette is number 5. That's kind of a shocker there, I think. Maybe they got some people coming in or whatnot. Do you know much about the Marquette team?
I think they got a couple transfers in. Haven't really dug into a lot other than I usually start college basketball with Carolina, ACC, keep up with all that.
Now, is that Shaka Smart? Shaka Smart at Marquette, right?
Do what now?
Shaka Smart, that's Marquette, right? He's the coach up there, isn't he?
Yeah. And what I was looking at here, Purdue ranked 3rd in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's intriguing because Purdue has a knack for being ranked good all year, but they have trouble in the NCAA tournament every year.
Yep.
And last year they got beat by a 16 seed.
Yeah.
So as a number 1, and then they're number 3 right off the bat. So that goes to show you these rankings don't really mean nothing because of the transfer portal. The transfer portal has revolutionized college basketball like you wouldn't believe. Because, you can have one team this year and it could be a completely different team next year. Used to, it wasn't like that. So.
And with Purdue being number 3, like you said, they always let you down in the tournament. They're horrible every year in the tournament. I never pick them to go very far in the tournament because I don't want to get burned by them, because that's exactly what's going to happen if you pick Purdue, because they are not a very good team when it comes to the tournament. Good regular season, but who cares at that point in time, because it really don't matter when it gets to the tournament time. Another team that was intriguing, Florida Atlantic is 10 in one poll and 9 in the other. I know they made the Final Four last year, but that's very high for a team outside of one of the power conferences to be a top 10 team coming in.
Yeah, they had a good year last year. They're one of those, I guess, what do you call it? They call it the mid-major schools that they're going to compete. They compete good every year. But yeah, I think that ranking might be a little nod to how far they went last year. I really don't stay in that high very long.
And San Diego State, the national runner-up, they are number 17. The other team in the Final Four was number 13, Miami, who I believe they've got just about everybody back and, could make another run again this year.
Yeah, Miami's tough. Yeah, they got a lot of returning players. Just like Carolina does, that's going to be a great matchup in the ACC right there. That's going to be one to circle on your calendars if you're a basketball fan for sure.
Oh, yeah. Season gets kicked off Monday. Kentucky and Carolina both are in action. In a couple of weeks, we'll know a little bit more about these teams, and we'll be able to come on here and we'll start doing our basketball pick'ems then, and be
Yeah.
prepared after seeing how they are the first few weeks of the season,
Yep.
and also got them the in season tournaments is what I like, the early season tournaments. You really don't know what you got in a team. Once they go through those, you kind of got an idea of where everybody's at after them in season tournaments.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of our little basketball preview here to tack on to the end of our college football pick'ems, man. You got anything else to add on this one, Joey?
No, no, we covered it pretty good. And like I said, I always enjoy talking sports with you, man. It's we have a lot of fun doing it, and can't wait to dive into more college basketball as the season gets going.
Oh yeah, yeah, man. One of these days we'll have to put our live cast up on here. We live cast the games at nighttime. We just don't record them, but we sit
Yeah,
here and we watch college football and NFL, and baseball, which it's done now. Congrats to the Texas Rangers for winning the World Series. You even throwed on a little hockey last night, so just never know what we get into.
yeah,
Start watching videos, start talking like Shaq and
yeah.
Kermit the
Uh,
Frog, and just randomly
yeah.
all kinds of different things.
it's a it's fun nights for sure, man. It is, and you mix in sports. I mean, it don't get much better than that.
So last week our parlays, like we said, they didn't one hit, one didn't. We do have a parlay for this Saturday's football. We're rolling with the Oklahoma train again. Boomer Sooner. We got Jaleel Farouk over 40 yards. Ollie Gordon for Oklahoma State 110 plus yards. Drake Stoops 50 yards. Dylan Gabriel 2 passing touchdowns, and Dylan Gabriel 250 yards. Lock it down. We're hitting
Lock it,
this week with Oklahoma.
lock it down.
All right, man. Well, until next time, we'll be yelling from the couch, and we'll see you later.
All right, man. Have a good one. Appreciate you having me.
Thanks for being on.
All righty, man.